This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order on Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 territory and homeland, traditional homeland of the Métis people. Joining us electronically via GoToMeetings are Councillor Randall.
Hello.
And Councillor Axworthy.
Hello.
Thank you, Steve. And in person around the table, we have
Councillor Bartmanovich.
Councillor Kumka.
Raymond Morrow, CAO.
and Penny McMorris. Reed. Adoption of the agenda. Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented. We have a mover and a seconder. Mike moving, Erwin seconding. I would like to note that the CLI meeting, that Collaborative Leadership Initiative meeting, has been canceled. They will have it at another time, but for now it's been canceled, so we can either table that one or take it off the agenda. All right. Any further discussion on the agenda? No? All right. All those in favor? Steve?
Yes.
Thank you. Steve is joining us audio. Steve is on audio, not video today, due to technical difficulties. Right, so we will move on to the minutes. Be it resolved that the minutes of the July 21st, 2020 regular council meeting be adopted as presented. May I have a mover? Graham? Thank you. And a seconder, Mike? Discussion on the minutes? Very short meeting as I recall, but there's still 2 pages of minutes. All right, Steve, any comments from you?
No, they were fantastic.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Carried.
It's a good thing Steve memorized them.
Hopefully you can follow on his phone for some of it, but it's kind of hard on my eyes, I'll tell you that. All right, moving on to the committee reports, correct?
Because there are no delegations.
There are no delegations. Just my resolutions to talk about council finances first, so I'll just skip on to, I think we're missing a resolution, right? Mine go from the minutes to accounts.
Council finances are after the committee reports.
Right. Missing the committee reports resolution. Maybe it's further down. Do you?
I thought I did.
Looking at mine. Sorry. Go from the agenda. Minutes.
You got missed when I scanned.
Yeah, that's okay.
I usually double check.
So we will go on to reports. So first up is Public Works, Mike.
Well, as anybody can well imagine, after last weekend's windstorm, a lot of public works time and effort is being spent on the massive cleanup that's going on because of the storm. To be most effective, public works is trying to concentrate on one area at a time. However, they are responding to any kind of emergency situations. So if you do have a tree down on municipal property that's blocking a driveway or is causing some other potential peril, you can use the e-service e-service request. Can be made from the Martin Victoria Beach webpage. And speaking of brush and fallen trees, brush can be put out on the road allowance now until Thursday, October 15th, when the pickup season, the fall pickup season will begin. We still have a little less than 20 bear-resistant garbage bins left, available for $215, including delivery. Email me. My contact information is on the RM website, or if you go to the RM of Victoria Beach Facebook page and leave a message, I can also get in touch with you about getting one of the bear-resistant bins. Weekly garbage pickup now is every Monday. And a note to those who are permanent residents who have purchased the bear-resistant bins, if you are going to use the bins throughout the year, please contact the Public Works office and make sure they know that you want a curbside pickup every Monday. If you're not on the list, you won't get picked up. Preventative maintenance is ongoing on all municipal equipment. And our new mechanic, Dylan, every time I see him, he's always working, but he's also always smiling. So that makes me very, very happy indeed. We've had a couple unfortunate boil water advisories. Rest assured that the testing protocols are being followed. We've been able to meet every boil water advisory and have it taken off as soon as they can possibly be taken off. There are no issues with the quality of drinking water. And again, these are cautionary advisories only. And for all those folks out there who are asking us, where's this generator that's supposed to take care of this? No one is more anxious to see that new generator get here than yours truly on council, and it will be up and running for next season. So no more of these boil water advisory increases, we hope. And that's about it. That's what Victoria Beach Public Works has been up to.
Mm-hmm. Move on to. Not very young, we'll move on to finance.
We have now completed 2 full years this council's administration, so I now am able to do some comparisons for the last 3 monthly periods. Our reserves are very stable and they now stand at $774,000. Accounts receivable and miscellaneous assets at the end of August stood at $598,000, up from last year's number of $461,000, an increase of $136,000. There was a nice increase in billable taxes. So that's our cash balance stands at $991,000, quite healthy. Our operating surplus to date is $658,954. That's down from last year, but it's up over the last 2 years. Bear in mind at this point in time, the operating surplus resulted from all the taxes that came in, and we will gradually over time whittle our way through that operating surplus. If you combine reserves, cash, and receivables, that number amounts to $2,364,636, and that number has grown steadily over the last 2 years. Tangible capital assets, that's the value of our buildings, our equipment, at the end of August stood at $2,586,772, representing an increase of $444,000 over the last 2 years. We spent a fair bit of money buying some new equipment. So what I'd really like to do is pass along my compliments and thanks to our CAO team for doing an excellent job managing our finance operations. You're here.
Thank you very much. Moving on to protective services. Mike, would you like to go?
Last month, I did not have the July stats. I do have the July stats with me now. So I'll start with July and move on to August. Back in July, Victoria Beach Police were working cooperatively with both the RCMP and Safe Neighborhoods. There were some illegal issues at the beach that they were dealing with. Police were monitoring traffic at certain locations and issued several highway traffic offense notices, which included drivers, suspended drivers, unlicensed drivers, and unregistered vehicles. So for any folks out there that are complaining about the check stops, they are there, they work, and they are for your protection. Of the 329 calls, there were 3 arrests, 31 bylaw infractions, 45 Highway Traffic Act sightings, 16 radar infractions, some suspicious activity, and also they were the police were able to get out into the community, and they were able to enjoy PR engagements with the public, and they all really enjoyed the opportunity to interface with the public. Last month, August, we were down to 299 calls. However, some of the infractions, RCMP assists, were still up at 13, bylaw infractions at 10. A slight increase in suspicious activity, so the police were out there and they were doing their job. Again, they were able to get out and see the public a lot more, which is something that they wanted to make absolutely sure that they could do. All in all, year to date, total calls out to the police from January 1st to today are 1,484 as of the end of August. Now that the long weekend is over, a lot of the summer staff have gone their separate ways, and over the fall, winter, and next spring, Chief Gary Clark and Sergeant Ann Boyko will be our police force for the shoulder seasons. So for those out there that are listening, yes, we still have police, and yes, they mean business. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
When does have all of the summertime constables been left the community?
Yes, they've well, there are some with local ties that have not left the immediate community, but for the most part, yeah, a lot of these constables, they sign on with Victoria Beach because Victoria Beach is recognized as a terrific, tremendous training ground for these constables who want to move on into permanent careers in law enforcement. And more than one previous constables have gone on to get on with major police departments like the Edmonton Police, Big Police, OPP. So we get good candidates here. The constables that we have here in the summer season are the cream of the crop, because we do have the luxury of being able to pick and choose because of the reputation that Victoria Beach has.
Yes. Second question.
Yes.
Who owns the radar detection unit that is right now on Safi Road? You know that.
Oh, the one on Safi Road? That belongs to the RM of Alexander. Ours, the one that we had purchased, spent a lot of its time on David Road this year. Unfortunately, there were a couple of incidents where it befell vandalism, ne'er-do-wellism, and it was in for repairs a couple times. But the one on Safi Road, it's always located, you'll notice, on the south side of Safi Road. That one does belong to the RM of Alexander. They have the stats for it, we don't.
Our own our radar unit will be repaired and back in service for next year.
Our radar unit, the sign.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hope so. I'd like to look into that and see, because that's. I guess I could have said something in Public Works.
Yeah, you remember we had talked about moving it around a little bit once or twice during the course of the season.
I want to see it. I want to see it move. You're right, Graham. I want to see it move around a lot more, and I'll be looking to have a greater say in how that sign is used next year.
Good for you. Yep.
Steve, any questions?
No, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I'd probably just note that the residents on David Road are extremely happy with the sign, and it has proven to be very effective. I mean, I wouldn't go too much further than that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Fire. Steve, do you have the reports in front of you, or do you want me to read?
No, I do. I got Brad to forward it to me. There were a total of 3 calls in August. All were in the RM of Alexander. 2 of the calls were for fire or smoke alarms. Both were attended, but no fire was found. Owners were talked to about the fire alarm system and to always be monitoring it. The other call was from Pine Falls Ambulance to help carry a patient that had fallen in the bush to the ambulance. Our fire department continues to maintain their equipment and gear in preparation for any calls that they may be called out to, and they will be getting back into the regular training starting in September. I'd also like to note and just congratulate them on a really job well done this past weekend with the major storm that was out. Both the fire department and the police did an exceptional job working to keep our residents and the community safe during the storm. I was out. I know that Penny was out during the storm taking a look at what was going on, and the fire service was all in gear, trying to redirect residents away from lines that were down and trees that were on lines, and they were really working with the community to keep us safe. I'd also just like to remind everybody about FireSmart, and if anybody wants to take a look outside of their window, they'll notice that most of the trees that were down, not all, but most of the trees that were down were conifers. It goes back to this whole idea from FireSmart that these trees pose a significant threat, not just from fire, but also because as they get older and they get taller, they break. They rot in the center without us knowing. So it's really essential that we take a look from a scientific point of view and acknowledge that FireSmart is necessary. I'd just like to tack one thing onto the police report, which also jumps back to the bear bins. I definitely received quite a few emails about the bears, and the bear bins are really necessary because it drains our resources, our police resources, when the police have to go out to try to monitor where the bears are. And if residents could start purchasing these bins, and as Mike said, there's 20 left. They're really essential for our residents to not only keep us safe, but to keep the bears away. Because we also have to remember that when a bear is relocated, it has a very high chance of passing. So it's really necessary that we get these bins out.
Good, thanks, Steve. On the bins, just for a sec, Steve, thanks for your remarks, and Mike, is an announcement going to be made that there will be no door-to-door pickup next year unless you have a bear bin? Are we ready to swallow that pill yet?
It's a good question. I am working on a strategy for garbage and recycling going forward in the RM, which I will be presenting to council in the early spring, and I will also be ensuring that that information about it is spread far and wide to all residents of Victoria Beach before any real determination is made.
The simple answer is this time.
Not at this time.
And if I could just back Graham on that up real quick, I won't get into a large discussion, but just to remind us that when you relocate a bear, you have one of 3 options are going to happen to that bear. Either it's going to starve to death because it's going to try to come back to where it was. It's going to get shot, or it's going to fight another bear for the territory for where it's moved into. So we're not doing any favors to any of the animal wildlife by continuing to maintain the status quo. So I'd be very much in favor of saying that you don't get pickup unless you have a bear-proof bin.
And I can say
Well,
that our conservation officer caught one bear at Victoria Beach, and he was released north of Hollow Water. So, but no bears have been killed in Victoria Beach that our conservation officers are aware of this year.
This year.
Yeah. And I think the bear-proof fins do make a difference. I have one. All right.
As do I.
And I'd just like to add to your fire report, Steve, from that windstorm on September 6th. Most of our fire members worked on the storm for about 8 hours. Some helped out for about 12 hours until all the streets were cleared. And the VB police did help them to make that possible. And in total, our fire department received and attended 9 fire calls in Alexander and 14 in Victoria Beach, plus 1 water rescue call, period of about 12 hours. So they were busy.
The water call, the report that I have is from August, but the water call, from my understanding, is somebody decided to go, I think it was paddleboarding out into the water during that storm. And that person tied up our emergency responders, which potentially could have been saving a life. So if you're going to do something during a time that may seem reckless or dangerous, or you just want to sort of go woohoo, you got to think twice, because you might be hurting somebody else just because people have to come over and rescue you.
Mm-hmm. As it was, they were rescued by another resident, but our guys were there just in case, and they decided couldn't have put a boat in that water.
No.
Anyways, kudos to all our emergency teams and our public works teams for getting all that done.
Absolutely.
All right, no report for special events. No special events.
Oh, well, last weekend was pretty special.
It was. It was. On to the golf course, Mike.
Thank you. Well, speaking of Yahoos, someone decided on the night of September 12th, last Saturday night, to extricate all 9 hole flags from the golf course and take them to other places. Now, fortunately, 5 of the flags were found along the beach on Sunset and were returned to the course. And after I submitted this report, I was told by Carl that 3 more flags had been returned to the golf course as well, which, so as it stands now, is only 1 flag. So I got nothing. Some people just need to get a life.
Not the first time it's happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, but they're costing everybody money. I mean, it's just, come on. Sorry, that's my personal spot.
It has been filed, and I hope something comes of that. The road to the golf course parking lot from 8th Avenue is in need of clearing, and I will be talking to Raymond and Public Works about working that into their schedule for this fall, or maybe early next year in preparation for next season. Anybody who golfs at the golf course will know what I'm talking about. If I say the tree on the 7th fairway is dead, many of us have hit the tree. Some of us have managed to get around it. Yeah, we probably killed it. Anyway, the tree is dead and it has to come down, unfortunately. The grounds crew feel that they probably bring the tree down themselves, but they may reach out to Public Works for some assistance in removing, because it's a considerable sized tree. So it's a happy, sad kind of story. Besides that, business has been brisk all summer, Carl reports, and the beginning of September has been actually very busy as well. So we have the weather to thank, and we have the COVID protocols, I think, that have been put in place that made people comfortable enough that they felt they could still come out and enjoy the great game of golf. The course is actually on pace to have a very successful year.
Were you in the 55 plus tournament yesterday?
I was not. I don't get invited to those.
You just have to sign up.
Okay. Next you'll have to sign up.
I didn't think you were that old.
Well, see, that's it. Penny just let the
see,
cat out of the
sorry.
bag. Oh, geez. I was gonna say I didn't qualify, but well, now.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, that's the call. Thanks.
Now we know. Okay.
Now we know, yeah.
If I could just put it out there that, I mean, I know that tree and I don't golf that often. I think we should probably look into replacing it with something. I mean, everybody knows that tree.
A piece of grass would be really. Some of us know that tree better than others.
Something to consider though.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Mike. Moving on to municipal buildings, Graham.
Yes, municipal buildings. As the season continues to wind down, just some loose ends currently on the list. I've submitted my report to council. Just 3 quick items. The Sandy Bay stairs. We elected to remove the sand from the stairs. It piles up. It accumulates. It's a necessary evil as long as we have those stairs and want them to be usable. The sand has to be removed from time to time. This last time around, they used water to wash it off. It did an excellent job. The accumulation of sand not only makes the steps very difficult to use, especially for older people, but it greatly accelerates the deterioration of the wood if they're laying in buried by wet sand. But going forward, and I'm glad to report that Raymond filled me in on something this afternoon. Taking a look at this last time around, it looks like our own public works people will be able to look after it in the future, which will eliminate the need for bought-out contractors. So 2 or 3 times a year, we got to do it, whether we like it or not. We're moving towards, I believe, Raymond, putting up some snow fencing to help prevent the accumulation so that we can reduce the number of sand removal events per year. Do you have anything to report on that, Raymond?
No, I don't. I spoke with Trevor, and I think he might have visited the site. I might have talked to Mike about it.
Yeah, I visited the site.
Yep,
I have
yep.
pictures. I was quite shocked at the amount of sand that's accumulated there, especially not so surprised after the storm. But,
well, the last big storm created a hell of a mess, so we had to do it. Hold your nose and do it. Yeah.
Talked about snow fence. Some concerns are people who go hiking there in the middle of the night might bump into the snow fence and hurt themselves. Snow fence, if you go with the wood slats, it dries out, it breaks apart, it can be sharp. And even if you go with the web fencing, there's still the steel posts. I had suggested maybe reflective tint on the post or something, but we really have to do something to mitigate the amount of sand getting on those stairs, no doubt.
Well, I think it's generally understood by yourself and all the people looking at it. Generally, it's accepted that snow fencing might help to reduce the number of times that we need to do this dreadful sand removal project per year. Okay, so we're looking into that, and there's no easy fix. Snow fence doesn't solve all of our problems either. It perhaps just mitigates the number of cleanings have to be done. Yep. On the Moonlight Inn, I'll be meeting with Aaron day after tomorrow, as a matter of fact, to go over this year's operations and a plan for next year. I've inserted into my report, which I've circulated to council, that there's a number of building renovation requirements that we're going to have to start taking a hard look at in the near future, and I just tossed it out so everybody's aware that none of them are going to be simple or cheap. We've got foundation and so on and so on, but that's part of a further discussion and next year's budget. But I just like to wave the flag once in a while that we're going to have to do some serious stuff if we want to save the inn. Last but not least, of course, the golf course clubhouse. The rest of the work will be completed on the clubhouse renovations over the next week or two. They had been deliberately postponed so as not to interrupt operations. I talked to the contractor again yesterday, and finishing it off is in the works, and it will be done. So that's it for now for Public Works.
I have a comment for you, Graham. The old post office, the old building inspector's building.
Yep.
I've been in there after the information office was closed, and the wall in the washroom has been damaged repeatedly by rain events.
Oh my.
And the girls were saying that the bathroom is not in that great a shape. The building's not in that great a shape. I think it's something we need to consider going forward sooner rather than later, that maybe it's time for that building to be a fire project, or just take it down.
You're right on with that, Penny. And the next time you check your email, you'll find one from me just a couple of hours ago on that subject. Was reported to me the window is leaking, and I said, fine, I'll go over and take a look and see if I can patch it up. But really, the whole bathroom annex, it's just a crappy little lean-to add-on. The whole bathroom section ought to be demolished. But that building's been there long enough. I don't know if the rest of council agrees, but that building continuing to sit there is a bit of an embarrassment, and it's going to become even more of an embarrassment. And I think we have to make a decision on it. Make it go away, knock it down, sell it.
That building, as well as the police trailer, needs to be done about.
Yeah, it needs to be pulled out of there as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Where I was talking about cleaning up, well, charity begins at home. Let's get rid of some of our eyesores. So that's something that I'm glad we're agreed that we're going to come to some decisions on in the foreseeable future. And I'm still going to go take a look at the stupid building tomorrow, but I doubt if there's much I can do to patch up the window.
I wouldn't worry about it.
No. All right, thank you so much. Any other questions for Graham? No. All right, we will move on to the doctor and Irwin.
No report.
No report. So you haven't heard back from?
Haven't heard anything for health, so. And I've been reluctant to really push it, given what's going on. I mean, but it's on my to-do list to follow up.
Yep.
Communications, Steve or Mike?
We continue to use the Facebook page. Still waiting for that phone call from Allnet about our brand spanking new website.
We're training next week.
Training.
Staff training for the new site.
Oh, okay.
It's coming.
Let's hope they're going to courses on customer satisfaction.
All right.
Cheap shot.
We recently sent out a September update.
Oh, yes, for September update.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Very well done, comprehensive.
Yeah, apologize for the length, but I think it got some good information out there. Yeah, anything else?
And we continue to promote Connect Victoria Beach. We hope people who are not signed up to Connect Victoria Beach, every time there's any kind of advisory, I'm getting a text, I'm getting a voice message, I'm getting an email. I may have to unsign up for some because both of our phones in our house just start ding, 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 dinging. So, but if you want to know what's going on in Victoria Beach, sign up for Connect Victoria Beach. Call the RM office, they'll get you signed up.
I would just note that we're not going to be hounding you with things. It's literally for emergencies only. And after next year, then those constant messages because of the power outages won't be happening because we'll have our hopefully brand spanking new generator.
Great, thank you. The information gate, the information booth is closed. The 3 women who worked there reported a good season with very few issues. The 4 mobility scooters provided by Reliable Mobility were rented out with no issues or repairs this year. They they dropped them off in June. They picked them up September long weekend, and it's a great arrangement. And I said, we've talked to them next year.
For sure.
So, yeah, it works well for them and us.
It's been a good work.
Yep. A reminder, if people have passes from this year, medical, whatever, vehicle passes, if they drop them off at the information mailbox, it doesn't get emptied. I'll check it, but
Yeah, I mean, we can check it.
we can check it, yeah. Or they can mail them to the RM office if they really if they want to. I don't want to, yeah. Okay. Graham, building inspector?
Yes, the building inspection report, thanks to Curtis. This is for the month of August. Main dwellings 3, additions 1, bunkhouse 2, sheds 2, renovations 1, and decks 2. So it's nice to see that things are moving forward. The total value of permits, $1,067,188, and I'm happy to report permit fees collected, $8,426.50. Thank you, Curtis.
Hey, we made money then.
Yeah.
It's money.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Graham. Accessibility, I have no report. Heritage or trails, Steve?
Heritage, we got all the volunteer award nominations in, so we'll be looking at those in the coming weeks. In terms of trails, the only thing I got right now is that I would like to find some more volunteers to help do just general reports on the trail system. And that's pretty much the only thing. I do have 1 or 2 people who respond to the call the last time I put it out, and the more people that we have, then all the better.
I can tell you, Steve, that I got a text from one of the people on the BB cross country ski group, and they went out and cleared some of the downed trees and debris off of a few of the trails after that windstorm, which was
Yeah, they're pretty dedicated.
yeah. So thank them for that.
On the trails, are we holding off to spring to install those fancy swing gates that we bought?
Any updates? I
Never.
haven't even heard. I don't even think we have them yet.
No.
Oh, they haven't even, okay. So it's in the works, all right.
Okay. Any other questions on our reports? All right. Be it resolved, the September committee reports be accepted as presented. May I have a mover? Erwin, and a seconder, Graham. Thank you very much. Any further discussion?
Wear your masks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Carried. Erwin and Graham. All right, moving on to accounts and finances. Be it resolved, the following list of accounts be approved for payment. Accounts payable checks 8561 to 8603 in the amount of $85,591.73. And July 24th payroll in the amount of $57,502.80. May I have a mover? Erwin, and a seconder, Mike. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Erwin?
I reviewed the list of accounts and they're pretty routine. There's no large items. So good order.
I noticed lots of checks going towards, or lots of spending going towards parts, vehicle parts. We're keeping Dylan busy, as Mike said. Let's always have a smile on his face.
He does.
Okay, no further questions? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you, Carrie. Moving on to the supplementary grant. There's no business arising from the previous meeting. Be it resolved that bylaw 1609 regulating the use of public property in the municipality. Second reading. Wait a minute, did I miss one?
Yeah.
I did, I missed the supplementary grant. I don't.
Raymond published the, it's one of the
Maybe I'm on the wrong agenda.
15th, you should be on supplementary grant, 2020 tax sale, bylaw 1611.
We did second reading of that one last
We
time.
did. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
My sincere apologies. I'm giving you the wrong numbers.
Oh, it's the resolution for the
Oh,
council?
I would have read the wrong resolution for the accounts.
The numbers was off.
Oh, were they? But I didn't even pay attention.
Sorry, guys. That's my fault completely. I was on the wrong.
Resolution.
Yeah. no,
Yeah, the resolution
I know.
numbers are correct, but I was reading. Let me go back then. I want to
Yeah.
reread the accounts and finances.
Mhm.
Be it resolved, the following list of accounts be approved for payment. Accounts payable checks 8679 to 8719 in the amount of $118,361.09. And September 4th, 2020 payroll in the amount of $57,529.12. My apologies.
That's correct. Yeah, you got it.
Okay,
So it makes sense.
we're all right with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'm back on track, I hope. So, supplementary grant. Whereas the Victoria Beach Community Center is a volunteer organization providing a wide range of recreation opportunities to area residents. And whereas the Victoria Beach Community Center has been taxed $3,196.03 on its rental units for 2020, with limited fundraising options to meet its ongoing operational costs due to COVID-19 restrictions. Be it resolved that the arm of Victoria Beach Council authorized payment of a one-time 2020 supplementary grant to the Victoria Beach Community Center to reduce the additional operating cost to the organization resulting from the imposition of the 2020 tax assessment. I don't have an amount in there. So it's,
The fact that we're reducing, it's not the entire amount. We're not covering the entire amount.
No,
It's reducing the amount.
the shortfall number that has been shared with us was $2,000.
Even that high. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. You probably something in that.
Municipal amounts, about 12.
Now, this will supplement what was donated to VBCC back early this year, when by resolution we passed our annual list of donations. This would be a one-time supplement to that for the reasons that the resolution spells out.
It wasn't the purpose of this grant to reduce expense that the post office specifically was having
Yes.
issues dealing with.
yeah,
We have not tied this financial grant to lowering the rent for the post office. The concern is that the post office doesn't get a direct break. They may not be able to continue to operate. So
Yeah.
so this
I
is
would
just
like to
a
suggest that the money be tied to the post office.
First, we need to determine how much we're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for the,
And as Raymond said, you know, the school tax portion is about 2,000. And it's
Yeah. about,
right?
There's two tax, there's two education levies because it's commercial. It's rated commercial.
right. And it's been shared with us that the increase in rent charged to the person who runs the post office for all of us was going to amount to about $2,000. And this supplementary grant is so that they can, so that they will not have to impose that type of rent increase on the person who runs the post office for us, because that was going to cause a certain amount of financial hardship. It comes down to the post office as arguably an essential service out here. I've done my homework, and I know that during the busy season, during the summer months, there's lots of weeks when almost half the volume is for seasonal residents. So this is not something that's for permanent residents only. We all benefit from having that post office up and running. And if we have to supplement the operator by a few dollars, at least this one time, I think is reasonable value.
Any comment that I was going to have, Graham just said. So, I mean, it is an essential service.
It is, yeah.
We can presumably attach whatever we like to the check when we send it to Lori.
Yeah, so we do have to put that in the resolution.
All right.
$1,900. Yeah.
Is there an increase in there?
160 per month.
Okay, so what are your proposed?
$2,000. But
One time.
tied to the post office rent rebate. Community center just can't take the money and say you still owe it.
Yeah.
It is in support of, well, I totally agree. It's a very good community service. You'll need to amend the expanded grant is offered as a rebate specifically for the post office. It's a rebate. Rent abatement.
Then I can put the figure in, and then we can pass this motion, and there's further discussion.
Okay.
So we'll just read the final paragraph before we go ahead and move it. Be it resolved, the Arm of Victoria Beach Council authorized payment of a one-time 2020 supplementary grant of $2,000 to the Victoria Beach Community Center to reduce the additional operating cost to the organization resulting from the imposition of the 2020 tax assessment. Agreement will be added on basically go towards the grant of the post
So, here's what I've added. Last paragraph. Be it resolved that the Arm Victoria Beach Council grant authorized payment of one-time 2020 supplementary grant of $2,000 to the Victoria Beach Community Center to reduce additional operating costs to the organization resulting from the imposition of the 2020 tax statement. That grant money is to be earmarked for a rent reduction post office unit.
Perfect.
Right. It ends up being a rate reduction. The way it gets implied is that in lieu of an increase in rent that would otherwise have occurred, but rent reduction, that works, Raymond. I think you got it there.
Your concern is not restricted,
Earmarked is it's just, the word should be conditional upon.
but we won't give it to them unless they
Use it to apply.
Yep.
I mean, that's
They have not.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
They have not raised the rate as the rental rate as of yesterday. The CC said that they would hold off on that pending other developments. Well, here we are. This is the other development. So they know that we know that they know. Okay. So there'll be no funny business with the money.
Do we know that they know that we know that they know?
I think
I'm
so.
not sure they know.
Who's on first?
Well, do you trust Lori? Sure we do.
Yeah.
Graham, turn yourself on mute.
My heavy breathing again.
So now it said grant monies to be conditional to reducing the post office rent by the same amount.
Okay, may I have a mover?
I'll move.
Thank you, Steve, and Erwin will second. Any further discussion? I think this is an appropriate thing to do, given the, this
It's
is
a
a,
service that's used by all.
and this is a new assessment that they've never
Just
had before.
Yeah.
They never caught it.
They didn't,
Yeah.
so this hit them hard this year, and hopefully it will be better for them next year.
Yeah, here's hoping.
So we can help out.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried, thank you. Okay, let's make sure I'm on the right page here. All right, coming up next, the 2020 tax sale. Whereas the 2020 tax sale was postponed by Council Resolution 2020/66 dated April 7th, 2020. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic is causing unprecedented financial hardship to millions of Canadians. Whereas the Arm of Victoria Beach Council is concerned that municipal property owners whose properties are subject to the 2020 tax sale may not have the financial resources to pay their outstanding taxes in order to avoid losing their properties via tax sale proceedings. Be it resolved, the Arm of Victoria Beach Council canceled the 2020 tax sale and all 2020. It ends there, that's fine. Okay, so it ends with, be it resolved that the Arm of Victoria Beach Council cancel the 2020 tax sale. Now I have a mover and a seconder, and we can have a discussion.
I'll move it so we can have a discussion.
Okay, Steve
And I'll second.
and Michael second, so discussion.
I think the point to be made here is that the tax sales are based on properties that are in arrears as of the 2018,
Older than that.
older, 2018 and
2017.
2017. So these are
Up to
folks,
17.
okay, so these are folks, and a lot of them are the same folks year after year after year. I appreciate council's feelings back in April that to give a little bit of relief to folks who may have been hit by COVID are fine, but I think based on what I'm hearing from the financials, the folks who can have paid their property taxes, and yet these folks who have not paid their taxes for years continue to incur costs that we have to absorb, and costs that yes, someday we may recover or may not recover. But these are costs that the good folks of Victoria Beach have to cover in their taxes. It costs money to run a tax sale. I think that for the folks who are in arrears, it has nothing to do with COVID. And I think it's time to call these people to task.
I would echo your comments.
The only thing I would say is that it doesn't cost the RM much. We contract this out, the tax sale, and all the fees they charge go back to the owner of the property.
But if we defer the tax.
If we defer the tax sale, we're on the hook for all the costs.
Plus, deferring the tax sale, reduce our cash flow,
Yeah.
potential cash flow.
I'm not in favor of this resolution because the net effect is that the folks who do pay their taxes are are subsidizing those who don't, and in some cases, as we know, it's some who choose not to pay their taxes. And we have to draw the line. We live or die by taxes that we collect, and I think we have to be consistent. These arrears began long before anybody had ever heard of COVID. So that'll be reflected in my vote.
I really think that the most important thing that people understand by this is that this has been an ongoing issue for years. It's not something that's just come up now. And when we take a look at, being lenient this year, it's as a result of the past 6 months. But we're not talking about 6 months here. We're talking about years on end. And that, in my book, sort of eliminates my empathy for the situation. So I really feel that we should go ahead with the tax sale because it's just enough is enough. And when you have other people who may be working as hard as they can so that they can pay their taxes, and this has been an ongoing issue, and we don't seem to be anywhere near to resolving the issue adequately, then you just have to stick to your guns and simply say that, unfortunately, you've had enough warnings. Now's the time where we should move forward with the tax sale.
Right, just a question. We postponed the tax sale for 4 months, so there is a specific date when it's scheduled to occur.
Well, it'll be set back a lot later now because it would have been initially November. There's no way they're going to meet the timelines.
So it would likely now be into the new year.
Probably into the new year, I would think, yeah.
Almost it'll be close to a full year of deferral.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
So they got some more time to get their money together.
All right.
And Raymond, can you just speak real quick to the warning system that we have related to tax sales and trying to get people to pay their taxes who may have, let's say, forgotten?
Well, I guess the first inkling is you get the tax bill and it shows the arrears on it. The second one is you get a courtesy letter if you're subject to tax sale. And even before that, we send out a letter to people who owe taxes, who haven't paid their taxes at the end of the year. And they're not necessarily in the tax sale, just they haven't paid their taxes. And subsequent to that, there's a courtesy letter sent out before tax sale proceedings begin, official tax sale proceedings involving the service. And so there's no cost incurred up until that point, extra cost. Once tax service comes into the picture, now costs get added to the individual properties that are up for sale. So that's the process. And there's going to be more notices to the people who are in the tax sale going forward. That's not finished as of now, it'll continue. So they get several warnings before the actual tax sale day. And they can pay their arrears at any time up to the actual time of the auction. They can come in 5 minutes before the auction and pay their arrears off. Yeah.
Also, I don't think there's anything in writing, and you may not choose to speak to this officially, Raymond, but I think there's some empathy shown to those individuals who would at least make some progress to paying off old taxes. So we're bending over where it will do some good.
Well, when I get to the tax sale, once you're in the tax sale, you have to pay the minimum. There'll be no exceptions. We can't cherry pick.
All right.
All right, so the resolution on the floor is to cancel. So,
Call for the vote.
okay, I will call for the vote if there's no more discussion. All those in favor?
Nay.
All those opposed?
Aye.
You swayed me. I was going the other direction, but carried. The tax sale will go ahead. This resolution is
Defeated.
okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Bylaw 1611. Be it resolved that bylaw 1611, establishing a code of conduct for council members, be given first reading. May I have a mover? Mike, seconder? Graham, thank you. And discussion?
The background of this is a document that was essentially mandated by the province.
Yeah.
This came out as a result of a resolution at the Association of Municipalities
That's
about
correct,
3 years ago. There were several councils going through some pretty horrendous times. And it was determined that a new council code of conduct needed to be written, and it's been mandated by the province. And it is comprehensive.
It's robust.
Oh, yeah. We have to be really, really good.
It is very good, and it makes, we're all on the same, every council member will be on the same foot all over the province.
And I look forward to passing this first reading so that we can get this up on the website and residents can have a look at the
Consider
standards
for themselves.
we're holding these up to.
And there will be mandatory training of all elected officials.
Yeah.
That's going to be coming into place in the near future, and yeah, we're all going to have to take it. So I think it's yeah, I think it's a very worthwhile.
Is the province paying for it?
No.
No.
They did pay for all the research, and they did pay for all the writing of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they did make it mandatory, but they don't want to pay for it.
Well, it's the code of conduct. Oh, the
Yeah.
training, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I think it's going to be an online training from what I
I
can.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it may be inexpensive or free. I honestly don't know what that will be at this point. So council has had a chance to read through it.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, no further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Graham? All right, carried, thank you. All right, the next resolution, I believe we can take off the table.
Yep.
Because that meeting has been canceled for now.
Right.
So we move on to the AGM, Association of Manitoba Municipalities. Be resolved that all council members be authorized to virtually attend the AMM annual general meeting to be held on November 23rd, 2020. May I have a mover? No movers?
Grant.
Great, thank you.
Hello? Yep.
Erwin, second, thank you. I just wanted to bring this forward because registration starts on the 1st of October, I think, to the end of October, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I believe it's $100 per person to register. It is all virtual this year. There is no, normally it's a 2.5-day conference. So I just wanted to give council a heads up that if you wanted to register, this will be our authorization to do so. So, yeah.
Can I give any indication of what the program's going to be like?
They will be, you have to monitor the website, the AMM website.
Yeah, and the onus will be on us to sign up for it. This is just the authorization to do so.
Yeah.
And this resolution will give us an authorization to have that dollar reimbursement.
The $100, yeah, it's $100.
Yeah.
If we choose to attend.
If you choose to attend. But I wanted you to be able to get in on the early bird registration.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm planning on attending. Weird to say, but yeah, I'm planning on attending virtually. Spending the day in front of the computer.
I think it's worthwhile that the resolution covers all council members.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
What about Raymond or Seth or anyone else who might choose to tune in? Okay.
Day it is.
All right.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. It is worthwhile. It'll be an interesting way to do it this year.
A lot less expensive.
A lot less expensive. No kidding. Although I think it would have been in Winnipeg this year, so.
Yeah, it would have been Brighton last year. So.
So, 2.5 days. Up next, have an update, if I may, on the water treatment plant generator.
We all wait with.
Do you?
Yes.
Apparently, so do the residents.
Yes. So do the water plant operators.
Yes.
And thanks to Raymond for writing this up so that I make sure I get the facts correct. This is the Victoria Beach Utility diesel generator summary and timeline. So the standby generator to provide power during hydro outages to the water treatment plant and the high capacity pump used as a rapid fill for fire department pumper and tanker. On August 2019, Stantec Engineering was engaged to provide technical details and advice relating to the generator size and electrical modifications required, etc. In August 2019, we entered into a procurement agreement with Public Works and Government Services Canada to take advantage of a possible bulk generator purchase. The tender deadline was January 7th, 2020. October 2019, the draft generator specs report came to us from Stantec. December 2019, the RM submitted an application for funding to the province for a Building Sustainable Communities grant. The application decision was expected on April 1st in 2020. Roll ahead to April 2020 and the federal procurement bid was awarded and the RM proceeded to obtain its own quotes. April 2020, the RM accepted the Wajax quote for a 350 kilowatt diesel generator with an automatic transfer switch costing about $99,460. Estimated delivery of both units, being the generator and the transfer switch, was approximately 4 months. In June of 2020, the province denied our Building Sustainable Communities grant. So we're doing this on our own. Other information, the estimated total cost of the generator and the installation have been included in the 2020 budget. The generator is manufactured in the US and anticipated shipping date is the end of September 2020. The generator was not included in the 2007-2008 water system capital project when the plant was built, as the lowest project tender received from Garden Construction was higher than what the province approved for the capital expenditure. So the RM had to actually modify the project to reduce the total capital cost by over $100,000 at that time. Otherwise, the entire capital improvement project would have had to be redone from the beginning, following all the requirements of the Municipal Act with respect to local improvement. So here we are from August 2019 to September 2020. We hope to have the diesel generator up and running for the 2021 water season.
Why did the province deny our application?
I have no idea. So I applied for the maximum grant, which was $75,000. They were supposed to tell us that April 1st, and they told us that we weren't getting any money. And the problem with these grants is if you incur the expenditure, you are automatically out of the grant.
That's right.
You are disqualified.
Yeah.
So we were stuck waiting. We waited on the procurement bid from Public Services Canada. The bid that they got, and I can't say the amount because we can't disclose it, was much higher than the bids we obtained on our own for the same size generator with an automatic transfer switch. We had to wait on that because if it would have been a substantial savings, we wanted to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Subsequent to writing this summary, we will be getting some design work done for the outbuilding that we want to build on site. The generator will be next to this building. It'll be the size of a double garage. All the electrical components will be in there. And that's because we want power to that high capacity pump when there's a power failure. That's when you're likely to need water, because that's when you're also likely to have fires.
Mm-hmm.
So that coming forth, we're hoping to get this built, this building with the concrete slab at the latest October, so that when the generator shows up, it can be put on the slab and the building is more or less ready to go for 2021, because if we wait till the spring of 2021, we're going to be in a time crunch again.
No, it's got to happen this fall.
They can install a generator while the plant's running. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
The
well,
plant has to
and
be
that's
shut
fine.
down.
Right after Thanksgiving.
Are tender invitations going out soon to build a required building?
I'm waiting on the specs. I'm hoping to have
Okay,
the
as
specs.
soon as you have the specs, we can call for quotes on that. Okay.
Yeah, it just depends what we get.
Yeah.
I gotta wait and see what we get. We're going to a couple of different companies that build these kinds of buildings,
Yeah.
because they'll design the building for you, which is, we need that, because we also need to get a building permit. So we
Well, yeah.
need you to get a building permit.
All right.
Yeah,
And
building inspector.
Yeah,
the quotes on the building might be from invited bidders who we know are qualified.
yeah, it just depends on, first things first, we need to see what we're getting back from these companies that we're going to in terms of design. Yeah, it's basically a garage package, but it has to have a separating wall, a few other slight differences from a standard garage package. That's kind of where we're at. It has nothing to do with money. We don't have the generator. That's why it's not up and running.
You mean it's not
budgeted
just
for.
sitting in a crate somewhere?
No, it's not sitting anywhere. It's in the United States of America somewhere. This is a massive piece of machinery. It's like 20 feet long by 8 or 9 feet wide by 10 feet high. It's not.
No, you don't buy this off.
There's special permits just to trailer it out here.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see it come down the highway.
Yeah, and one of the benefits of going with this vendor also is, although it's coming from the States, they do have a local presence
Yeah.
here in Winnipeg.
Wajax.
Yeah, Wajax, who's the local representative and support. So we've got that going for us. If there is any kind of issue with it, support is just an hour down the road.
The generator, it has a capacity of 350 US gallons of diesel. That's how big it's needed. And that's rated for 12 hours. That's all it'll offer. It's a massive engine that runs it.
Well, that's a lot of power, 350 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Sizable engine.
It's a six-cylinder,
Turbocharged.
6-liter
Mhm.
turbocharged.
Excuse me.
Thank you very much. All right, anything in correspondence, gentlemen? It was again a relatively quiet couple of weeks. Any
Well,
correspondence?
you just answered, I think, half of the correspondence that came in, so.
Yeah, most of it had to do with the generator.
Yeah, won't it be nice not to have those boil waters?
Shouldn't have very many once you have the protocol one at the beginning of the season because the system
Yeah.
shut down.
Yeah.
That'll never change.
Well, just imagine what it could save us in overtime by our overworked employees having to deal with these
It's gonna be
Yeah.
boil waters. Yeah.
And all these boil waters cost the municipality money because you have to bring in
Oh, yeah.
samples,
Mhm.
2 different types of samples over 2 days. So every time this happens, it costs the municipality.
Time,
Wash
yeah.
system, chlorine.
I wouldn't be surprised if boil waters cost us close to $10,000 a pop when you factor in the overtime and all the other issues.
I don't think so.
Maybe not that,
Not that much, but.
Okay.
It's innovation.
Yeah,
The aggregation,
and then you don't have
absolutely.
water, so residents don't have water.
There's still a cost. Okay.
All right, anything from anyone else in correspondence?
The water is safe to drink, it's safe to drink, and it's safe to drink. So
Yes.
don't freak out.
There's no algae.
The algae has been minimal this year, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and that's,
Mhm.
and the
We
water,
didn't have the horrible, we didn't have the horrible August bloom. That was a bit of a blessing.
water samples are analyzed by an accredited lab by the province of Manitoba. They're submitted automatically to Office of Drinking Water. If there was any issue with potability, we would be advised immediately, and there'd be a boil water.
Yeah.
When they remove the boil water, it means the water is safe to drink, based on provincial and federal standards.
All right. All right, not hearing anything else. We'll move on to adjourn. Be it resolved that the September 15th, 2020 regular council meeting be adjourned. Next regular council meeting to be held on October 6th, 2020, again at 6:30 p.m. here at 705 1661 Portage Avenue, Winnipeg. May I have a mover? Mike, seconder. Erwin, carried. Steve, you there?
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm good. Let's do it.
All
Have
right.
a good one, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much, guys.